Hi, everyone. Welcome to DonSmith.tv. We hope you have the tools and the passion. Join me and let's create something amazing.
I truly enjoy my Honda NC750X motorcycle. You may remember from my last video, the first video I produced in nearly 4 years, that I bought the 2023 model with only 330 miles on it. I bought it as a still brand new bike, but at a used bike price. I'm focused on this and other motorcycles in my videos, but I will also throw in stories from my years as a network news cameraman, working on a freelance basis for the New York newsrooms of NBC, CBS, and ABC. I work from my home near Dallas, Texas, and I take a breaking story assignment for the first network to call me. Let's talk about riding comfort. This NC750X is great to ride, but like every motorcycle I've ever ridden, the seat is not perfect. It's not bad, but I thought I could find better. I tried 3 or 4 seat pads, and they helped a little, but then I found the Hex Rider. I was amazed that for only 40 bucks, I got a pad that had what I call a relief channel down the center. That low pad through the middle of the seat pad gives men a comfort advantage. However, as I said, no motorcycle seat or seat pad for motorcycles is perfect. But in the case of the Hex Rider, it's one of the best I've found. In the case of the Hex Rider on my NC750X, which has the gas filler under the rear seat, the back of the Hex Rider will cover the gas cap when the top of the back seat has been raised. But it's easy to pull back the seat pad with only one finger. And speaking of the gas tank on my NC750X, did I mention that it gets 65 miles to the gallon? It takes like seconds to refill the tank as well. Of course, I began with new videos, but I would like to draw your attention to some of the videos I made while I rode the Goldwing. First, find my channel at texas2lane.com. Just under the top banner, you'll first see my drowning puppy video, which has been watched about 80 million times between my original story edit and shorter versions that 4 media companies produced with my permission. For past Goldwing videos, look for the red thumbnails. Subscribers will enjoy being reminded of the informative videos I made covering a number of subjects that you won't see elsewhere. For those of you new to this channel, you've got a good number of videos to catch up on that will give you some great ideas for your own bikes. But a few of my videos from years ago will be out of date. I'll be updating those videos. Below the drowningpuppy.com video are the Texas 2-lane videos. Click on the play all, and below and on the right side, scroll down a little to see all of my prior videos that focus on the Goldwing. And now I will include my latest videos where you'll see me on my NC750X. And now, kids, it's story time. Have you ever experienced seeing someone in a car driving next to you lower a gun to point to your head? I have. I was the weekend anchor for WFTV in Orlando, Florida in the late 70s, and I had taken a news car to Kissimmee, just south of Orlando, on Friday, June 8th of 1973. I picked up the mic to call the station using the two-way radio in the car, but I got no response. I tried several times without being able to use the repeater we had on the 1,484-foot tower that my station and other Orlando stations shared. but in those days it was easy to find a payphone from where I called the station. Our tower has collapsed. That's the first words I heard from the person at the TV station who answered my call. He went on to say that the collapse happened during the noon news. The next day, I drove a news car to the scene of the collapsed tower. The tower was located about halfway between Orlando and the east coast of Florida in a little town called Bethlo. The tower, at 1,484 feet in height, was taller than the Empire State Building and the tallest structure in the state of Florida. So I'm driving toward the site of the collapse. So far, we had no idea what caused the tower to collapse. It could have been a structural fault or the fault of workers on the tower fixing one of the antennas, or it could have been the result of a terrorist attack. The highway to the tower had 2 lanes in each direction. I'm in the left lane going east. As I drive, I became aware of a car in the lane to my right pulling up to stay next to me, to pace me. As I looked over, there was a man in the driver's seat, but there was a woman to his right who was leaning over to hold the steering wheel. While she held the steering wheel, the driver had his window down and both elbows resting on the door. He had a gun in his hand. The gun was pointed up. When he saw that I had turned my head to look at him, he began to lower the gun to point to my head. Well, my heart went into my throat. But maybe because I'm a Vietnam veteran who lived through about 20 rocket attacks while stationed in what was then called South Vietnam, I kept my head and I did not panic. But keep in mind that we did not yet know the reason for the tower collapse. It could have been a terrorist. I could be looking at the terrorist right now. I knew he could pull that trigger faster than I could duck or brake or accelerate. So on the chance he was only trying to impress his woman, I simply turned my head back to the road and ignored him. After a few moments of ignoring the guy with a gun pointed at me, he went away. So, you know how you'll have the encounter with someone, then later you realize how you could have handled it better? Well, it occurred to me later that I could have body slammed into his car and knocked he and his woman off the road. They could have been seriously injured or killed had I done that. And if the idea was all a prank to begin with, then it could have happened that the girl died as a result of the man's prank. In retrospect, I'm glad it wasn't terrorism, and I'm glad I ignored him pointing a gun at my head. The girl didn't have to die for the sake of the show-off man in the driver's seat. The cause of the collapse of the tower turned out to be that workers putting an antenna in the tower had loosened the wrong cross beams to put the new antenna inside the tower structure to be hauled up to the top. With weakened feet, the tower twisted to the ground. Bell Telephone came out to our rescue and put up a temporary and somewhat shorter tower in place of the collapsed tower. In my next episode, I'm going to show you how my voice while riding the motorcycle and the voices I hear from surrounding riders is recorded with noise reduction to the 360 camera that I use. And I'll show you how I edit that 360 footage so I can change shots at will in the timeline of the video editor. I'm not locked in before editing if I had used the 360 app. So in the meantime, it's my hope that you and I will keep our eyes on the road.